We'll call the meeting to order. Tonight is January 22nd, 2024. It is 6 p.m. This is the Board of Zoning Appeals for Oconee County. First order of business is the approval of minutes from 11/25/23. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any
They did
discussion?
this, but I don't know, he did it, he used to do it in the past.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Passes. Next order of business is the election of officers. Hearing nominations for chair.
Okay to run again?
If I've done a good job, I'll serve it.
You good to go again?
Hmm?
You good to go again?
I'm willing to do it if I've done a good enough job for you
you've
to
done a
deserve
great
it.
job. Nomination?
Mr. Ugar, would you like to accept?
Beg pardon?
Will you
Yes.
accept? Any other nominations? Hearing none. All in favor? Unanimous? I'll turn the meeting over to you, sir.
Okay. Okay, the next, let's see, minutes, call nominations. The next item we would have is, do we have a nomination for the vice chairman?
I'd like to nominate Gwen.
No, not this year.
No?
Not-
Okay.
You interested? Nominate Jim.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Jim, acceptable?
Yes.
All in favor? Or, before we do that, are there any other nominations? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Unanimous?
Have it. We need to appoint a secretary. I would move that James Coley continue as our secretary.
Second.
Do you have any other nominations? Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous?
Okay, the next item we have is the approval of a calendar. Have you had, anybody had a chance to look at the calendar?
Okay.
Do they have any
Good to me.
issues with it?
No.
Skipping May and October.
And December.
Okay, do we have,
It would be December 23rd if you had that scheduled meeting.
what is your comment with regard to May and October council chambers used for early voting?
We have been told we may not use this room, so we cannot broadcast or record that meeting. If we need to have a special call meeting, we'll have to find a time and a location to do that.
Okay, either that or we could change the date. Would we want to change the date?
So the early voting in May and October, we would have to work with that
Okay.
council on
Well, when the time comes, if we wanted to, we could always change the date to accommodate the facility.
that. Yeah, well, we'll have to do an announcement for a special called meeting anyway, so we can work with them if we have that, if we need that.
Any comments or thoughts with regard to the schedule? Okay.
No.
Okay, anybody, we have a motion,
Make
Move
the
to
motion.
accept the calendar events as
do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Unanimous?
Okay, now I have a brief statement of the rules and procedures for the meeting. The applicants will provide a presentation about the needs for the variance for 5 minutes with the chairman having the ability to extend that time if needed. Staff will address any additional issues pertaining to the particular variance or issue. And we have a citizen comment period, and we'll allow 5 minutes for each person that would like to speak either for or against a particular issue. The applicant rebuttal and questions from the board would follow that, and then there would be voting. Once the board starts its deliberations, however, then we will not accept any further input from the audience. So, with that, the first variance we have is variance application VA 23000021. Chris Burning of Absolute Sign Works is requesting a 95-foot variance to the maximum sign height. TMS number is 27800030018. The address is 3581 West Oak Highway, Westminster, South Carolina, 29693. Would the applicant please come forward? And state your name, if you would, please, for the record.
My name is Rick Tatunjan from Absolute Sign Works.
Welcome.
How are you?
Sure.
So I'm hoping everybody has this in front of them. So my client, the owner of Power Track, we did some on-site signage for him, the building signage, and went through the permit process. He wanted a freestanding pole sign. There's actually two addresses at that location, I think, which allows us to go up to that 75 square foot at a 20-foot height. And I think it allows for two signs on the property. We only want to go with just the one sign, the pole sign, which you have in front of you. Being able to see the gas price boards from either Highway 11, when you're coming down Highway up or down Highway 11 and West Oak Highway, that's the size that we actually need to get that visibility at 55 miles per hour. I don't have much more than everything that we presented. Again, just knowing that we're only going to be putting one sign on that property. You won't ask for it again on the West Oak Highway. He's had a place of business on West Oak Highway for years, just down the street across from the school. This is a new location. Yeah, that's about all I have on that. We're not going to, actually, I'm sorry, I'll follow up. We're not going to advertise the second business on that sign. It's just going to be the Power Track, because they have an ABC store attached to that, but it'll be just a Power Track as you see it with the gas price boards.
Will the ABC store be coming in for a separate signage?
No, no.
Does the board have any questions? Have any questions?
Did you all consider the fact that Highway 11 is a scenic highway, a national scenic highway?
During the construction of that business, I think all the pine trees are still up on there. I
Right.
think he did pay for additional entrance on that end, so it wouldn't be just, again, not taking down the pine trees that are on that scenic highway. Once you got the whole frontage of pine trees before you even see the Power Tracks. Only when you're getting off the exit to get onto West Oak will you see that sign. It's only 20 feet tall.
What about the rear exit he put in off the service station? Won't
That's
you
on
see
West
the
Oak, you
sign
mean?
from there? No, it
No,
comes
no
off
sign
on
there.
11.
No sign there either, just
Oh, I
on,
know, but can you see the sign from there? If you look up the hill,
from Highway 11 or from West Oak on the second?
Highway 11.
On Highway 11, no. And at 20 feet tall, if you're coming down West Oak Highway, the only time you'll be able to see is when you crest to their entrance, and you'll actually see it under the canopy, not over the canopy.
How did you happen to pick this particular height and size sign? What was the criteria for picking
That
the
was
size?
your criteria. It couldn't go any higher than 20 feet.
But
We
you're
wanted
looking
to go much higher, but it wasn't allowed, so that we were going to the maximum allowed height.
So you're going for sign area, not for height, is what you're...
Right, just sign area, yes.
Gotcha.
And this can't be done with smaller area?
Excuse me?
This cannot be done with a smaller
Not with
area?
the size, so we're keeping the sign itself just to 50 square feet. That's his typical sign that we do with him. It's 5 foot by 10. You can see it's quite small compared to the gas price boards, but the boards themselves, you can't go much smaller than that. You just won't see them.
Well, this is more than twice the standard for signs in the county.
Yes, you're correct on that, and the reason we apply for the variance is that we're not going to ask to advertise for the second business or put a second sign on property.
Okay.
Do we have any other discussion? Okay, thank you for your
Thank you,
presentation.
appreciate your time, thank you.
James, do you have any comments?
So this is just for the area, the height is within the acceptable limits, so 20 foot is the max height for a sign. Yep, everything, you said everything you appropriate, so 75 foot is what would the typical sign area be? And they're asking for the variance for larger signs.
Okay.
Happy to answer any specific questions though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nobody signed up to speak, but if there's anybody
You do
that,
have-
there,
There are public comments for this.
there are public comments
Yes.
for that? You said, okay, wait a minute here. Okay. That'd be Glenn Churchill?
Yes.
So-
I'm
my-
Glenn
my
Churchill.
apology.
I just want to say I'm basically against any more expansion. Me and my wife have lived at a house right next door to them for 27 years, over 27 years, and they basically have come in and moved to a small city right next to us. It's 24/7, lights on. They're open at Christmas. So I'm against any more expansion. We have, all the lighting is on constantly, and it comes through our bedroom now. I planted 30 trees along the border back in the fall. I'm hoping they'll grow and block some of it out, but they're sitting up high too, so all that interference, we got noise from traffic in and out, especially off the side road there coming off of 11, and we're right there on 11. I don't know what the sign would do. I mean, I imagine if it's big, we're gonna get more light off of that too, so I just wanna, state I wish there had been a meeting, I could have had and been involved before they ever built, but, I don't know, but, I just wanted to say my piece because it's kind of ruined our neighborhood for us, our house.
What's the view of this sign from your house?
Excuse me?
What's the view of this sign? Would this sign be from your house?
I'm not sure if it's up on 24, and, I mean, we can see the building has lights all around it, and of course, in the summertime, now, when the trees are filled, they'll block a good bit of the light out, but not all of it. But this time of year, once the trees go bare, we get all that light. I mean, the light pollution out there now it's incredible. We used to be able to sit out back and look up and watch satellites go over and see the Milky Way on a clear. You can't do that anymore.
I think as far as the building and so forth is concerned, they're within the limits of whatever the county allows,
Yeah.
and they've gotten the permits from that. We're
I
here
understand that.
strictly with regard to the sign. They've asked for a variance on the size of the sign.
Yeah, I understand. I know I'm probably
Thank you.
rambling,
No.
but I'm just wanting to state my case. I'm against any expansion, anything outside of the norm. I don't, wouldn't like it.
Appreciate your position.
Thanks.
Thank you
Okay.
for your comments.
Thank you. Thank you for the time.
Would anybody else have any comments? Okay. If not, then any discussion with regard to board standpoint?
I'm concerned that this sign is twice the size that we normally authorize, that it's sitting, if it's going to be seen from both directions, it's going to create a lot of light if it's going to be on all night. And so the size concerns me, and also the location.
He's doing one instead of two.
That's what I was thinking.
But this is a large sign.
I know, I understand, but you can do,
Yeah, but you can do two smaller, or make this one smaller. But it is a scenic highway when it goes through there, and the county is responsible for maintaining that.
well, this is not on 11, it's
this-
24. 24 is not a scenic highway.
I understand, but you're seeing it from 11. That's the whole purpose of the size of the sign. It's right there, it's right there.
He's stated that it would not,
The height's not,
The height.
you can't see it from
you
11.
can't see it from
The whole
11.
purpose of putting it there so you can see it from 11. Look at the description. Travelers driving highway speed on Highway 11.
Anytime you can reduce it down to, from having so many, you're better.
Yeah, I lean more toward the having less of them.
Less signage.
And I guess to take the other point of view, So the sign is half the size, is that gonna make that much difference of an obstruction for what people are gonna see and how much light comes off of it? I don't know that a sign twice the size is gonna make that much difference. There can't be that much light from just a sign. And also for people that have a business, I can see that they want people to see their business
Yeah.
and see the gas prices, and I can understand that's, but I understand your point of view as well. So I guess just from, that's the other side of the coin.
James, how does this compare to the variances that we've given in the past?
So the closest comparable would be the Stop a Minute that is across from Walmart on 123, which was 175 square feet. So it's about 15 square
Right.
foot smaller than that.
And we did that because he could have put 4 up
Yeah.
along that same.
He had frontage on the two major roads as well, so he
Yeah.
had on, I forget the name of the road, but
Yeah.
goes back towards Blue Marble
Yeah,
and
he
all that.
cut through back there.
Excuse me, just a question to you. How much light do these signs really, do they they don't?
No,
My
it-
recollection of the signs are they don't generate a lot of light.
No, they
You
don't,
just-
they're
you
definitely
just-
not flashing at all,
They
it's just,
have,
it's static.
dark backgrounds and you've got colors which tend to mute the direct,
The
brightness of
power
it.
track sign's dark blue, so
Yeah.
it's actually very subtle, it's not in your
Put that
face.
back up again, just the sign.
And then the price boards themselves are again, static, they don't blink, there's no
So the-
flashing, it's just,
The only brightness would be the white probably on the writing.
yeah, yes, sir.
If they don't see it from 11,
They will see it from,
you said,
I'm sorry, they won't see it coming from, if you're coming down 11, it's on the right-hand side because the whole row of pine trees. They're only gonna see that sign when they come around off of, going toward West Oak Highway.
once they get off of 11?
Yes, once they get off 11, but they will see it when they come in this way on 11, once they get underneath the underpass. Originally, they wanted to go like a billboard sign so they can see it coming
You
down
can see the whole,
11.
the whole store and everything there.
Yeah.
When you come under the bridge on
Yeah,
11. I
exactly.
go there every day
Mhm.
to work, so.
Yeah, but you don't see the store at all coming the other way in 11 until you get past those trees, and unless you know you're getting off that exit, you'll pass right by it. So you will ultimately see the sign when you get to that off-ramp. Again, coming down West Oak, it's not in your face because it's buried behind a canopy that's already there. Only when you get down, coming toward their entrance, you then see through it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? We have, let's see here. We have no further questions from the board? Let's continue on. Then let's start with our evaluation. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Okay, with no further discussion, then all in favor? These conditions do not, I'm sorry, huh? Oh, I'm sorry, is there any, one negative, I'm
Thank
sorry. These condition, okay, that item carries. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Opposed? We have one opposed. Motion carries. Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Opposed?
Carries 6-1.
Okay. Motion carries. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Opposed?
Motion carries 6-1.
Motion carries. Okay, based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved? Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Opposed?
Carries 6-1.
Motion carries, you have your variance.
Thank you. Very much.
Okay, that's done. Okay,
Thank you, Philip.
variance application VA 23000024. Cole McCurry is requesting relief from the Lake Residential zoning district minimum lot size requirements. TMS number 123-11-01-031 with an address of 413 Longview Ridge, Seneca, South Carolina, 29672. The applicant, please come forward. State your name for the record, please.
Good evening, I'm Cole McCurry,
Yes, sir.
and I'm requesting relief for the Lake Residential lot size requirement, front lot size requirement for Lot 13 at 413 Longview Ridge Lane. I purchased this property in 2020, knowing that I could one day build on the property. And shortly after purchasing the property, I applied and received my septic permit. My septic has been installed and approved, and my proposed house has been surveyed and staked on the property. I included the site plan and proposed, proposed house and all required setbacks. From my understanding, the majority of the lots, the lakefront lots, if not all, in the neighborhood are not 80 foot wide. My lot's 67.84 feet wide. And I had neighbors that completed a build in 2022, and their lot was 41.05. And the lot 11 completed their build in 23. And the lot size was 58 feet wide, 57.99. With my lot included, there are 3 lakefront lots remaining in the neighborhood without houses. With my build, the adjacent properties will not expect any changes except new neighbors. I'm just asking that y'all would approve the variance.
Do we have any questions from the board?
Do you have any setback concerns from the street? Are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not totally clear on what variances you're requesting then.
From my understanding, it's the front has to be 80 feet.
The minimum lot size.
The minimum has to be 80.
Lot width.
The lot width has to be 80 feet wide.
The question is, did the other folks that built that was?
Yeah, the other folks.
Did they get permits?
So,
Yes.
There's
variances?
only, yeah, sorry.
go ahead. Okay, so this is the exact same neighborhood as the case from November. This is the same road, actually. basically 3 doors down or 2 doors down. And there are several lots in here that do not meet the minimum lot width that were all zoned in one of the larger area rezonings. None of them were protested at the time. This goes back almost 2 decades. When all of these were zoned at one time. I believe they were all owned by a land investment company at the time. They would not be approved today if they were trying to subdivide them this size. This lot is just over 1/4 of an acre. Today, it would need to be a 1/2 acre. It has, I think you said 67 feet of frontage.
It's,
and-
yeah, mine's 67.84.
57, and the appropriate would be 80 feet as a minimum if it came in today. So this is a variance that is consistent with the rest of the neighborhood. I'm gonna pull up a different map for you guys.
And mine is actually one of the wider ones on,
Show this to you. Oop. So you can see the lot size on there. All of these are, 3/4, 2/10, less than 2/10, and are up pretty close. One of the smaller nice things about the lots being less than 1/2 an acre is the setbacks are reduced. So it's a 15-foot front setback as opposed to a 25-foot front setback. So you don't have any setback issues.
Yeah.
The design as presented.
But the county approved this prior,
Yes.
the lot size and all like that.
The lots were developed and
Yeah.
then they were zoned after they had already been developed.
After they'd been developed.
Nobody protested the zoning at the time, so they were left into that rezoning. So there was an opportunity for the landowners to opt out of that zoning when it occurred. Because they were all held by one company, none of them did.
Yeah.
I'll turn the zoning back on, I've got it off so you can see this a little better. But the zoning is consistent throughout the entire, it is like residential all throughout.
So you're not just picking on him.
We're not picking on anything. I
And it-
promise you, we don't go looking for problems, we have plenty of our own.
I just.
Yeah, and
I
it-
personally have, once the county approved the subdivision and all, and then you put the
So
overlay on
the
it.
subdivision was approved prior to the zoning.
Prior to the zoning, yeah.
If they had opted out, they could have been opted out, they would still be in a control-free district, they wouldn't have a minimum lot width at all.
Yeah.
Because that didn't happen, now they're bound by the restrictions that were put on after the development of the parcel.
Anybody have anything else? Fine, thank you. That's all.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any discussion on the board?
We approved this in November, Rose, similar, right?
One very
So-
similar to
So
it.
there is a precedence already set
Yeah.
for that, so.
Okay. Then, and there are no, nobody has asked to speak on that subject. Anybody here that didn't sign up that wants to speak with regard to that variance? If not, then let us continue. Start with our process. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Any opposed? Motion carries. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No, with no discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Okay, anybody opposed? Nobody opposed, that motion carries. Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? All right.
It's unanimous.
Okay. Anybody opposed? None opposed, motion carries. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Based upon the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor? Do we have any opposed? Unopposed, the motion carries, and you have your variance. The next item on the agenda is variance application VA 23000025. Blue Haven Pools is requesting an 8-foot variance to the rear setback for installation of a pool. This is at TMS 294-00-02-008, which is 775 Durham Brown Road, Seneca, South Carolina, 29678. Would the applicant please come forward? Could you please state your name for the record, please?
Terry Conlon, Blue Haven Pools, representing the homeowners. Go ahead.
Richard,
Oh, okay.
please.
Yeah, so basically, in a nutshell, and I have an updated survey with contour lines. If we slid the pool to stay 10 feet off the core property line, it goes down into a ravine. So it would need a different type of construction. It would become an above-ground pool, be built differently. But more importantly, it's going into the ravine that's a natural water catch right now. So the natural flow of the water, that could be obstructing that flow if we move it into that area. So way back when we started, I wasn't aware of that 10-foot variance, and I reached out to the Corps to ask, and the Corps had said, as long as you're inside that line, they were good. And then we found out that, through the town, that there is that 10-foot setback. So theoretically, it makes sense to build it up in the flat area where the water is gonna go around and get back to the lake or to the natural ravine. From a construction standpoint and a water flow and erosion standpoint, it makes sense that way. And as far as the reason for the reason for the setback, I believe, is obstruction, views and things like that, and it's just flat ground level pool, so there's no view taken away. And actually, as you put it out further into the yard, it becomes in the view of the neighboring houses. So that's really it. It just seems to be the best logical location there, besides the 10-foot setback.
You have fencing around the pool?
There will be, yes.
So that'll be above that part will be above the ground.
So you're looking for an 8-foot variance, is that what it is? Because you're showing in this thing that you're 2 foot off the line.
2 foot off the property line, I think it's a 10-foot
So you're 8 foot.
setback, right? Yeah, so we're 8 foot.
Is there a homeowners association that rules this property?
Now, is the line that's on here, is the property line, is that the core line?
That's the core line, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a contour here, if you want to look and see how steep it gets as you push it over, may have it there.
No more.
It just really drops off.
How big is the pool?
It is 16 by 40. 16 wide by 40 long.
You're showing 16 by 36 on your drawing.
I got the wrong drawing then, sorry.
I was thinking, can you shrink the pool down?
We looked at that as an option.
What is the dimension?
It's 16 by 36.
About 36.
Yeah, 36. Sorry, this one's showing 40. Look at the con, yeah, 16
Then
by
again,
36.
16 by
36.
36?
Yeah.
Is that the outside perimeter, including the decking around the pool?
No, that's it, water's edge.
Okay,
The decking is all inside off that setback, so that
okay.
there's no decking on the far side. It's
Okay.
all up toward the house.
So is there no room, on this map, it looks like there's room between the deck and the pool. You can't move the pool closer to the deck.
I think it's 2 feet, and we're allowing 2 feet to allow water catch back to the current concrete. We're actually gonna cut some concrete out,
Is that deck already in?
the existing concrete under the deck, and it actually radiuses out a little bit. We're gonna cut that radius off and give us 2 feet to allow the water to come back into a drain.
So you're shrinking the deck down some?
2 foot area, yes. As far as surface area goes, yeah, we're taking some away. And any deck that's going, if we're talking surface area, it's gonna be pavers or travertine, right? Are we doing? Got too many jobs going in my mind. So it's actually segmental, so the water will perk through naturally. It's not gonna have the runoff like concrete would.
Does the board have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Board? Okay, if not, thank you.
Did you?
James, do you have any comments?
So it is the request for the variance from the rear setback. The rear setback on the lot is the 10 feet from the property line. The property line and the core line are the same line. And I'm happy to answer any specific questions you guys have.
So the variance is still gonna be off the core line. We're just giving.
The core line or the property line, they're the same line, just calling it different things. It's where the core management area
Yeah, but
starts.
we're not going over that line.
No.
Is there any prior precedent set with anybody else on this, in this area, that you know?
Not like, this is a unique one.
I live next door. I said, we want them to have a pool. I live on that side.
We prepared to do this and we moved our whole septic system. And we cut our stairs, we moved our stairs for our deck, so we've been planning this for like a year and we had no idea that was a because we were looking at it as our neighbors. We were 10 foot off our neighbors. We had no idea. I called the Corps and they said, yeah, go right up to the line. I didn't know the 10 foot applied to the Corps County also. So I was building it according to my neighbors, 10 foot off of them. Sorry about that, but we've already relocated our whole septic system and cut stairs and rebuilt them on another side of the house and, yeah, so. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have, any other questions? Okay, then let's, we'll go to, we have two people that have signed up for comments, Philip Matkins and Kim Matkins. Would you like? Huh?
I didn't sign up for anything, but I'm their neighbor on the other
Okay.
side.
Now, if anybody cares to speak that has, any comments to make with regard to it, we're more than willing to listen to you. If not, then we will proceed. Thank you. Okay. Then, if there are no further discussion on the point of the board? Okay,
I just don't know how somebody gets this far down the road, they're not aware of a,
I'm sorry?
I don't understand how somebody gets this far down the road with building and they don't know there's a variance there. I mean, how does this get approved before?
I think they probably started the renovations to their property before they applied for anything with the county. Is that correct?
The pool is proposed.
Yeah.
And
But they've moved their deck, they've
Yeah.
moved some stairs, they've gone down this road.
But they would not have needed a permit or anything.
So you
for
don't
any
need a
of that,
permit to do
probably.
that.
Right. But you're doing it because you're gonna put a pool in,
You can do what
and
you
you're
want to.
assuming the pool
Yeah.
is
But
in
you
the
kind
right-
of assume you can do what you want to with your property.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, then let's start with our deliberations then. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do I have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Do we have anybody opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, then, all in favor? All right.
It's unanimous.
Anybody opposed? None opposed, the motion carries. Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Okay. Anybody opposed? No? Okay, the authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? All right. Opposed? Anybody opposed? None opposed, the motion carries. Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
Make a motion.
Second.
Second. Do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Aye. Okay, anybody opposed? None opposed? Motion carries and the variance has been granted.
Thank you.
All your neighbors can swim in your pool now.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item we have is variance application VA 23000026. William Pursley is requesting a 20-foot variance to the front setback. TMS 052-01-01-053, and the address is 331 Evergreen Ridge Road, Tomasi, South Carolina, 29686. Okay, I didn't have to call for you, you were right there.
Yeah, well.
I'm right on the ball. Would you please state your name for the record?
William Pursley.
Okay.
I'm the owner of the property, and I'm applying for the variance. It's pretty typical along this road. It's atypical for Lake Cherokee, but on Evergreen Ridge Road, which is an unimproved road, and it's also a private road, and one side is private property and the other side is Forest Service land, so there's not anybody across the road. So pulling the house back is not going to interfere with folks on the other side of the road. The reason I'm asking for the setback encroachment is because of the steepness of the lot, it's going to increase my construction costs associated with bringing in dirt for backfill. And that bringing in the dirt for the backfill is also going to damage the road. But the other thing is, the county requires in the well permit that the well be 5 foot inside the property line, and I'm going to have a well house. If you look at, do you have this drawing, James?
I have that one, I got it too, but I can bring it up.
Yeah, but, so the plan is to put a retaining wall at the back of the house or the front of the house, and then arch it over to make sure that it has structurally increased the strength of the wall, and the ends of that wall will come to within 5 feet of the property line. And so that's the purpose of the variance, for to get a well house and to get the in the ends of that structural wall. The actual house will sit a little bit further back, and there'll be parking in front of the house. The houses along this road, this is typically how they're built. If you look at historically along the lots, almost everybody is right at the edge of the property line. But my neighbor on the left is encroached into the 25-foot setback. The neighbor next to me, who Lauren Wise, they applied and had approved a setback, and that's the lot next to me. And then there's a home down where you really can't see this, there's not a clear separation between where the road is and where the parking lot for the house starts. And I have those pictures. I don't know if you're able to include those or not, James? Okay.
How close is the well house to the property line?
It's not a well house yet, but the reason is the well truck can't drive off, but so far, and I'm gonna have to grade down so he can pull out, and he's gonna barely be able to get the well within 5 feet inside the property line. Am I answering your question? There's not a, but when I build a well
The
house.
proposed well house.
Yeah, it will have to sit along it.
You're saying the reason for the positioning is the ability of the driller to be able to get his equipment, and that's as far as he can get in within reasonable
You
range.
can't set a well drilling rig up on
No.
angled ground, it has to be flat.
Yeah.
And it has to be compacted.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
And it can't be
That's
backfilled.
Yeah,
Big old truck.
that's,
anything that causes any pressure, he'll be sliding down the hill and into the lake. So,
Yeah.
closer to the road he gets, the more stable it's gonna be.
Correct.
point. Anybody have any other questions? Any other questions? No? James?
Yeah, so there was a variance granted.
You can sit down if you'd like now, thank you.
At 327, which is the house next door, which is all the way up to the property line. I did bring this up for you guys to show you the edge of this road. Obviously, some of the houses in left and right, east and west, have all gotten closer than the 25-foot front setback.
We granted any variances in this area before?
Yes,
That's
so
what I
the
thought.
one next door at 327
Yep.
does have a variance for the house that's
That was
constructed right there.
last year sometime, wasn't it, the
22.
year before?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember.
22.
Yeah.
Do all these properties have the pretty steep?
Yeah, I brought up the topo for you guys as well. So
There's
there's
a
a-
bungee, this
Say so.
is,
Super
this
steep.
is really steep.
This is the lot falling pretty steadily all the way back, and it actually gets worse as you go.
Not a whale trip. That'd be tough.
If we get snow, it'd be a good place to go skiing.
Yeah, the end's not as fun, I don't think.
Okay, do we have, do
I
you
can
have
answer
anything
any
further?
specific questions you guys have about anything.
Any further questions from the board? We don't have anybody that has signed up for any discussion, to make any comments, but if there's anybody that wants to make a comment.
We did have some people write emails.
There's some emails in the back,
Emails in the back.
several emails.
And there's nobody, none of my neighbors are. so-
Anybody, do we want to read those or just include those in the minutes?
They're in the backup, they are both in favor, so those are there for you, they're pretty short.
Very good then. Okay, if we have, with no further questions, then let's proceed with our deliberations then. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the piece of to a particular piece of property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous?
There's no, okay. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous?
Anybody, it's unanimous, okay. That motion carries. Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion on this? With none, all in favor? Aye.
It's unanimous?
Unanimous, okay. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Unanimous, okay. Motion carries. Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
So moved.
So moved. We have a second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Unanimous. Motion carries and the variance has been granted.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Variance application VA 23000027. Len and Jackie Talley are requesting a 5-foot variance to the side setback. TMS number 150-00-01-118. Address of 298 Charles Way Road, Seneca, South Carolina, 29672.
Lee and Tally,
Very good, you're already here.
already here.
You have the,
Well, I'm requesting a setback to build a garage on my property. And the garage is like 26 by 48. And I'm not in a subdivision, so.
there's no homeowners or anything else with this?
Do you want to explain to us what that big square in the middle of the plat is?
It's a tower.
Yeah, it is a deep power tower. And I am very limited on what I can do because of the tower there and the right of way that they have.
So you can't build your garage under it?
Correct.
No.
And my house is like 1 foot off the corner of it.
And the reason the garage has to be 48 feet?
4-car garage. And if you'll see the property line on the, where the back of the garage right there, there's a couple of buildings that's partially on my property, on that property line there.
But they're not your buildings or something?
They're not my buildings, no.
Do we have any questions? Any questions from the board?
No, I'm good.
James?
Sideline setback is reasonable. I think this is one of the clearest examples of unique and different situations for a piece of property with the power line right away and easement there. Because I'm happy to answer any specifics though.
Yeah, I can park under the power line or things like that, but I cannot have a structure.
So that's the conditions, it's prohibited by.
Like if we didn't have the power lines.
Huh?
Have to just take a good look back.
You wouldn't have power if you didn't have the power lines either.
That's right.
Okay, very good. I think we've understand your situation. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
James, anybody else have any question or discussion with regard to this one? We'll get on with our deliberations. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Second.
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 Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do
Second.
we have a second? Okay. Any discussion? With no discussion, all in favor?
Unanimous.
Yes, okay. Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Okay, unanimous, okay, motion carries. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Unanimous?
Okay, unanimous, motion carries. Okay, based upon the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor? Okay,
Unanimous?
nobody opposed? Okay, motion carries and the variance has been granted. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?